we're going to our first race of the weekend from our friends at the Mini 7 Racing Club. And let's face it, there's no such thing, from what you can see, as a dull mini race, and I don't think this is going to be a dull one either. If we look at the running order for this particular occasion. Yes, indeed, we have the Dunlop Mini Challenge Portobello Mini Spares, Miglias and Libra class cars. The faster, bigger brothers of the regular 7s, and these cars, you can tell them because they have the big wide arches, and certainly something that's going to be quite an entertaining race. Now, what we should explain of a championship is that the actual championship standings are... The championship can't be lost by the man in the lead of the points, because there's a bit of a switch around between the actual championship leaders. So in terms of the 7s, in terms of the Miglias, I'll get my words out properly. Essentially, it was Aaron Smith who provisionally secured his 4th national media title, and he came home second behind Andrew Jordan, who took a victory. Now, Andrew Jordan, I should have mentioned also, he's not in this race either. He's also he's actually moved to the to go and race alongside his dad, Mike, and also his younger brother as well, which means that the victory could be potentially up for grabs between anyone else at the front of this field. So this is going to be quite an intriguing affair to see how this could all play out, particularly with the battle for second place and the points behind them. In terms of the grid coming into this first race, let's see if we can get that up on screen and take you through it. So, of course, there's two parts to this. You've got the Mini Miglias, which are the Mini Miglia, which is the regular mini spec cars. I'll get the words out eventually, I promise. And then we've got the Mini Libra cars, which are slightly more lax in terms of their regulations, a bit more powerful, but slightly more bigger engines, etc. But in terms of them, they're a bit more sort of open in terms of what drivers can do. In terms of the actual grid, it's Ben Colburn who put his car in pole position in qualifying. So he will start from the front row of the grid from P1 alongside the 23 car of Rupert Death. It's Kane Aston, who had a mixed weekend last time out at Croft, when the last round, which was with the BRSCC about 3 weeks ago. He challenged Andrew Jordan all the way in the first race at Croft. He even had a couple of goes to try and get past him at one point before he got second place. Then in the second race was up there towards the front before he sadly had to drop back and only picked up and had to retire from the race, which means that he'll start this race from P3 after a decent qualifying. He'll start alongside Phil Bull and Brown on the second row of the grid. Then it's Rob Howard and Damien Harrington on row 3, followed by Colin Peacock and Sean King on the 4th row of the grid. And rounding out the top 10 is Mark Sims and Jonathan Page. And why that's significant is Jonathan Page essentially has provisionally wrapped up the Mini 7 title, and so to give him a chance to go and experience the other side of the Mini 7 racing paddock, he has jumped into Mini Miglia for the first time this weekend and stuck it in 10th on the grid on his first attempt. That's not too bad for him. So here is the grid then. It is Colburn and Death on the front row of the grid, Aston and Bull and Brown on the second row from Howard and Harrington, and it's Peacock and King on the row 4, Mark Sims and current new provisional Mini 7 champion Jonathan Page in his first media start, and James Cuthbertson and Nick Paddy round out the top 12, starting from the 6th row of the grid. Moving down to row 7 is where we find Alex Osborne and Lee Roberts from James Colburn and Tony LeMay, and then Steve Yule at the back of the Mini Miglia grid. Then there's a small gap back to Craig Edgecombe, who starts on pole for the Mini Libras alongside Richard Colburn, from Josh Evans and Lee Stanton. Then it's Julian Proctor, who broke down in qualifying, but he will still start 5th if he's on the grid. Then Ben Norfolk, Philip Harvey and Gary Warburton. And then right at the back of the grid, you've got Ashley Davies and Kieran McDonald. They're both going to start from the back of the grid with a 10-second delay due to, I'm sure, having that, I think, possibly being disqualified from qualifying. That's usually if their cars are found to be underweight. But I'll double check the actual qualifying result to see what the actual reason was for them starting from the back of the grid. And the reason is it's not underweight, forgive me, it's both been disqualified from the session for having tyres changed during qualifying. So because of that, they have to start at the back of the grid with a 10-second delay, which means that they will start towards the back and see if they can pick their way through. They'll probably pick through the Mini Libra cars quite quickly in the first couple of laps, and then move forwards once they're ready to go forwards to do so in the Mini Miglias in that sense. So the Mini Miglias then make their way around onto the grid after their quite energetic qualifying session earlier on. And let's face it, any time that Mini Miglias or Mini 7 Racing Club is out on the track, you're guaranteed anything. You're guaranteed anything but a dull race. It's always entertaining, always exciting wherever they go. And I anticipate, given the fact you've got these long straights and the great chance for lots of cars to start to dart into slipstreams and racing packs, this would certainly be more of the same here, particularly when you've got Ben Colburn on pole position, Rupert Death, who's vastly experienced. That's a brand new car he's been trying to bed in, particularly in the last couple of rounds at Croft. It seems to be working pretty well. Kane Aston, a former champion as well, never wanted to watch out, never wanted to discount either. Watch the likes of Phil Bull and Brown. He's been getting quicker and quicker in the last couple of seasons. He's up there in P4 on the grid. And also I'll be intrigued to see exactly how Jonathan Page, who is the now current provisional Mini 7 champion, how he gets on his Mini Miglia debut, starting from 10th on the grid. So let's just take a look at, I will also take a look on myself at the championship standings coming into the weekend. So in the media categories, the cars start to make their way towards the grid to line up 2 by 2. It is, the battle's really going to be on, essentially between Rupert Death and Kane Aston. They come into the weekend level on points on... well, there's a point between them because the total points are on 218. Once you bring a drop score into play, it's then 217 points. So actually, it's the best 14 results from 17 races that have been run. There's still obviously 2 more races left to go. So when you drop one of those worst results, then it's best. So essentially, there's 2 more scores left to drop on this one, from what I can see. That means that at the moment it is Rupert Death ahead of Kane Aston by a single point on this drop score. And then it's Kane Aston in 3rd place. Andrew Jordan, who's not in this race, is 4th. He will drop backwards anyway. Sean King is in this race, as is Phil Bullen-Brown. No Jeff Smith. Colin Peacock is in there as well. And I also think Mark Sims and Ben Colburn will also start to move forward, particularly with Ben starting on pole. He is in the green and red car on pole position. The black car, number 23, is Rupert Death. Then it's the grey and fluorescent yellow Mini of Kane Aston, and the red car number 9 of Phil Bullen-Brown, watching the 2nd row of the grid. So stand by for action. That goes without saying, but the Dunlop Mini Challenge, supported by Mini Spares, Media and Libra class cars all set to get underway for the first of their races this weekend. We are set now for what should be 20 minutes of all-out Mini racing action. Ben Colburn on pole position on the left of screen. It's Rupert Death alongside him on the front row. The battle is going to be between, essentially, it's for 2nd in the championship now, between Rupert Death and Kane Aston. A point between them on drop scores. This should be quite a frantic affair, as it always tends to be with mini racing. So stand by. Do not move an inch from your stream for the next 20 minutes. This could be pretty intense. Also keep an eye, of course, for the battle in the Libra category too. Last couple of cars are just getting moved into place now before we get set to go. So watch for the 5-second board at the top of the gantry, just next to the starting lights. Of course, when that goes up, which it does now, the reds will start to rise, and then the red lights will come on. They'll flash off anywhere between 2 to 7 seconds. And then the first Dunlop Mini Media Challenge race of the weekend will get underway. The red lights are on, they're back out again. It's not a good start for Kane Aston. The slow reaction from him. Good start from the 4th row of the grid, also from one of the cars back in the mix. But now side by side down towards Abbey for the first time. And it's going to be Colburn, he leads the way. But here comes Rupert Death up the inside, trying to turn into Abbey corner first. It looks like he managed it just about. More battles further back. Jonathan Page has slipped back a couple of spots. He's now down outside the top 10 off the start, but now down towards the complex for the first time. They are still side by side for the lead, and it's now Death looking to try and make the move. He goes a little bit too deep into the corner, but holds on to the position. 3 wheeling their way through. 1 or 2 cars running a bit wide on the exit over the curb, but they just about hold on for the time being. Onto the back straight as Death takes the wider approach. Colburn up the inside, and Kane's Aston trying to get himself into the mix there as well. Now down the back straight now for the first time. 20 minutes of Mini 7 racing, and they're starting it already. Here they come. As I predicted, 4 abreast down towards Stoke Corner. Bullen-Brown getting the run, and everyone, look at that, from 4th to 1st in one move. And also behind him, that's another one of the red cars in the mix, steaming down the outside, and that is Ben Colburn out of control, into the side of Kane Aston. He tags Rupert Death. For 2 contenders for 2nd in the championship have come together at Stoke Corner, but that was a consequence of Ben Colburn losing it under brakes. Now that'll have to be at very least a safety car, if not a red flag, if they can't recover those cars quickly enough in time. Phil Bullen-Brown takes the lead. It really has shuffled around the mini media contingent. Let's see what the clerk of the course does. Because it looks like I think Kane Aston's car's possibly stranded in the middle of the road. They can try and recover it. So Bullen-Brown leads the way. Colin Peacock's up to 2nd place. Osborne's to 3rd. Cuthbertson 4th. Howard 5th. Jonathan Page up to 6th position. This really has shaken up the order, because 3 of the main contenders that could have been in the mix for victory have all dropped out on that incident up at Stoke Corner. There's Ben Colburn's car. It's been covered with double wave yellows. They're going to try and push that Mini out of the way. As for what happened to Death, Death had damage to the front end of the car, and Aston's car was sideways too. We'll just double check on the timing screen to see if Aston's come through. And the answer is no, he hasn't. So Ben Colburn, Death and Aston all out at Stowe Corner on the first lap of the race. Phil Bullen Brown takes it up. There is Rupert Death's car stranded, looking a little sorry for itself with damage to the front right, but it's parked off the road, so that should be safe. It's after it's off in pit lane. Now Colin Peacock going on the attack here, but he can't go into the make a pass down at Stowe Corner because of the double wave yellows, because of the stranded cars of Ben Colburn and Kane Aston. Rupert Death trudges away and slightly frustrated at the fact that his race has come to a premature end. Down towards the complex at Vale and Club. Osborne trying to get involved here in third. In fact, Osborne actually the leading Libra class car. You can tell by the kind of air filter on the front of that car. So it really is the class to field in terms of the Libras. To come through, one car also heading for the pit lane also as well. It's in 2. And 145 is actually Edgecombe in third place. So it's Edgecombe up to third then in the leading Libra class car by some margin. So Edgecombe with the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 18.101, the first proper flying lap around this time. That lap is some almost 2.5 seconds quicker than anyone else. That's substantial stuff from Edgecombe in third place. He's up to second already past Colin Peacock. And now he's going for the lead now. Look at this. Into the pits has gone Julian Proctor. That might be a legacy of his issues in qualifying that saw him pull off the road as a result of that. So he could be suffering more troubles. And the team, and obviously his crew have tried to fix that car in between the sessions, and sadly not be able to make any progress. But look at the punch on Edgecombe's Mini. Look at that. Straight past in a straight line. Phil Bullen Brown's take the lead. So he is by far and away the quickest Libra class car. And he will start to, I think, pull away and possibly go off and take the overall lead. So lots of battling going here. You've got Howard and Osborne going side by side, exiting for what is currently 4th and 5th position. Also in there too, you've got Cuthbertson and Page. And here comes Cuthbertson down the inside line. Has to make the move, and number 37 is into what's now 6th position by the looks of it. No, 5th position past. That would be Page. No, sorry, it'll be Howard. More scrapping further back here. This is McDonald in the 88 car trying to get past the 149 of Warburton. Having a good individual scrap in their own. All over each other here. This is effectively now for second place, because they're all the Edgecombe's Mini has decided to shoot up the road. He's got 17 spots off the grid. He started back in 18th. He's up to 17th to the lead, 18th to the lead in 3 laps. That's extraordinary. So Edgecombe then trying to edge away, 3-wheeling his way onto the back straight. Still is now Colin Peacock into second place. He leads the Miglia category. So Peacock leads the Miglias. Bullen Brown in second place, Osborne now third, Cuthbertson fourth, and Howard rounds out the top 5 in that category. But they're currently sitting, of course, second to 6th in the order, as a result of Edgecombe starting to pull away here. Bullen Brown getting back in front. Here comes Osborne up the inside of Colin Peacock, who basically gives him no choice but to capitulate. Sticks it round the outside line. Howard's back in front of Cuthbertson again. Also, shout out to Jonathan Page, who is in 8th position, I think, now, because he's dropped back behind. I think that's Harrington he's dropped back behind in the number 29. Magnificent stuff back and forth as they turn their way in and out of the corner. To get back onto the straight. Again, this is typical Mini action. Page round the outside of Damien Harrington. Still wheel to wheel. Page all over the curb. Welcome to Mini Miglias. Used to the Mini 7s, but a bit more powerful, faster Minis with a lot more grip. So they're getting used to them pretty quickly. Mark Sims is in there too as well, as is also the 94 of Roberts in there too. This is technically the entire top 10 group in almost one entire shot. So Edgecombe now is... We've got a small gap, and there was a tangle between Osborne and looks like Cuthbertson there. Cuthbertson's car stranded on the outside of the entry to Village. But running wide over the curb there was Osborne. He's dropped back a few spots, and Harrington has now charged his way through, I think now, to either the lead or second place of Mini Miglias. One of the two. He's managed to pick his way through and put in a fantastic effort, and I think that's come as a consequence of the tangle between Osborne and Cuthbertson. They were battling over, well, they were in the mix with Colin Peacock. So that would have been, I think, didn't see the start of that incident, but they're all together at this point. And they see Colin Peacock in car number 7 there, throwing it into the inside line, defending from the new provisional Mini 7 champion, Jonathan Page, who is really making life difficult for him too. So Edgecombe leads them. Bullen Brown in second place. It's now, that'll be Howard into third, 4th now for Peacock, 5th for Harrington, 6th for Page on the outside of Osborne, who's recovering after the little skirmish with Cuthbertson a few moments ago. Sims and Roberts are in there too. Osborne over the curb as they come onto the pit straight now. It's all action here. I promised it was going to be all action in the Mini 7s, and we weren't kidding. They're all over each other. Howard up to third, of course, with a personal best. That's working out well for him. see if he can make any inroads on the lead for Bull and Brown. Of course, he's second in Miglia's, third overall, because Edgecombe's Libra Mini is having quite an occasion so far in this first race of the weekend for the Mini Miglias. Onto the back straight. Roberts trying to keep close if he can. Now to the back straight once more. More battles going on further down the order. Complex they go. That's further back. That's more battle going on. Kane Aston also is confirmed as out of the race now. So I think it looks like he tried to carry on slightly, but unfortunately he's been officially confirmed as being out of the race now, which is a shame. But the first corner skirmish didn't quite work out in his favour. The first lap skirmish at Stowe didn't really work out in his favour or anyone's favour in terms of that lead group. Edgecombe appears to have this under control at the moment, although Full Bull and Brown is giving it a good go here. You can see he's really pushing hard to try and pick up the victory, the win overall if he can. He's just allowing the rest of the cars behind that are scrapping in the Libra ranks, in the Miglia ranks, just to fight amongst themselves. Onto the back straight, there's still more scrap here. This is now Peacock watching Jonathan Page here diving down the outside of Harrington. So Peacock looking in his mirrors and seeing Harrington Page trying to make the move stick here. Sims, on the other hand, is going up the inside of Osborne. Also in there too is Roberts to try and make this move stick if he can possibly try and pull it off. He's got a good opportunity here to try and pick up a good, strong top 5 finish here, John, on his Mini debut. There goes Sims, just holding off Osborne. Roberts trying to get himself into the mix here too. Just wide there from the green and purple machine. On the back, you can see here that's another one of the Colburns, Richard Coleman in fact. It's different. It's James Coleman in fact who's coming through. So James Coleman in his Mini Miglia. In the, just trying to find him on the grid list. Yeah, James Coleman starting back 15th, and there's more contact. Round goes. Well, two more than Minis. 24 was involved in that. Also is 86. 24. Was Steve Yule, 86 is Nick Paddy. There was a third car involved in that as well, down towards Abbey. That's a shame. It's quite a frantic first Mini Miglia race. You can tell it's almost end of term between these drivers because they're all kind of just letting their energy get the best of them a little bit too much, by the looks of it. So let's just take stock of where we are then. Still Edgecombe who leads the way. Bull and Brown in second place. This is now watching here Colin Peacock defending from Damien Harrington, and also in there too is still Jonathan Page. And you see there, the marshals attending to that's Steve Yule and Nick Paddy. Both cars have ended up in the sand trap down at the Abbey corner. So Mark Sims then coming under quite a bit of pressure here from Osborne. As Alex Osborne tries to pick his way through. It was a pretty good run from Alex Osborne up the order. He's now come all the way up to now 8th position from where he started back in 13th. Up there too is Lee Roberts in the 94. You can see the red car there. Of course, no overtaking up at Abbey Corner whilst the Minis are being recovered. But still at the front, Craig Edgecombe starting on. He set fastest time in the Libra category, but of course he had to start literally from Libra pole in that section of the grid. So he's picked his way through the entire Mini Miglia contingent in order to get up there and lead the race overall, whilst commandingly lead his class at the same time. I should also mention the 2 cars starting from the back of the grid, which is Kieran McDonald and Ashley Davies. They're up to 12th and 13th respectively, but there they are in fact. That was pretty good camera work in fact actually. Davies ahead of McDonald. Started at the back of the field and have been picking their way through together to get themselves into the order. Still Edgecombe from Bull and Brown, but that fight for second and Miglia's is starting to really hot up now because Peacock is trying to hold on to it, or Howard's trying to hold on to it. Peacock holding on. Sims really sends it deep into the first part of Bell towards Club, and Jonathan Page tries to retaliate round the outside if he's got the pace and the minerals to do so. also in there too now. This great scrap continues to go on between Alex Osborne, Mark Sims and Lee Roberts, and Roberts is on the tail of that too. Meanwhile, you can see there just Harrington having to go to the inside line to defend from Page in towards Abbey Corner. Just holds back a little bit. And there's confirmation that Steve Ewell and Nick Paddy are both out of the race, sadly, after the incident at Abbey Corner. Now, Phil and Brown isn't giving up his pursuit of Colin Edgecombe, Craig Edgecombe, is he? He really is just pushing as hard as he can. You can tell it's a Libra car because it has got slightly different. For one, it's got a different air filter sticking out the front of the edge of the bonnet, so it's certainly a slightly different spec to the Mini Miglia machines. Libras are slightly more open, hence the class name Libra. So just keeping an eye on the rest of this order. Rob Howard is doing a fine job, of course, in third place. Colin Peacock fourth. Peacock is going for the inside line now. He wants second place in the Medias and third overall to stand on the podium if he can do it. Up the inside he goes. Peacock, Howard tries to brave it around the outside, which he can too. There's a tiny little kiss of wheel arches there as they come up through the exit of Stowe Corner. Back towards the left-hander at Vale. Moves across again under braking, just about holds the place. Turns in, clip of the apex. Steve Ewell showing him he's pitted in, but I'm sure his car is stranded on the track. It has been on the road up at Abbey Corner rather than pitting in, so TSR having a bit of a moment there. Further back, this is Richard Colburn scrapping away with 149, I think, which is Gary Warburton. So these two who've been battling just about all season long, really. But Richard then getting himself up in the order. And this will put Richard Colburn currently into 17th place, no, the 16th in fact. He's got past Warburton. This will now give Richard Colburn a spot on the Libra podium. He's still got to try and catch 474. As now the battle for second and medias continues to hot up between Howard and Peacock. And Peacock's on the outside line here. He's got good momentum down towards Stowe. He's got good straight line speed, but Howard has got the inside line here. They're practically wheels that they really are dead level down towards Stowe. It's just going to depend on who's got the better brakes here. It looks like Howard's going to turn in and have a bit more gap to remain in position. Peacock just about staying in formation. Now they make their way down towards Vale and Club once again. Peacock just sniffing around. What it's also doing now is look at the two cars behind them. Jonathan Page, again I remind you, is in his first ever Mini Miglia race. Of course, he's now currently the provisional Mini 7 champion, but he swapped cars, specification of car now, from the regular 7s into the Miglias for the first time. You see here, that's Kieran McDonald getting a bit wayward over the curve. He's sort of trying to recover himself from the back. He is on the tail of 89, which is Sean King, if I'm right. Yes, it's Sean King, started back in 8th on the grid, and Sean's down to 12th. So he's down 4 spots. Biggest gains you can see are both Davis and Cole and McDonald, of course. Ashley Davis up 16 places from where he first started on the grid, so impressive stuff from Ashley and Kieran to pick their way through as high as they have. Of course, Davis is into the top 10 now. That's working out quite well for him. So, as you notice as they went through the shot there, Howard and Peacock have been caught by Jonathan Page and Damien Harrington, and they're at it again. Here comes Peacock this time back to the outside line. We've seen this before, haven't we? These two, side by side. And here comes Peacock then, to try and dive down the outside if he can. But I think Power's going to try and brave it out around on the inside line if he can. It'll put him on the outside for Vale. This now also gives the chance for Page and Harrington to get involved here. They're keeping a watching brief. Peacock does, in fact, be last of the late breaks into Vale. Through he goes. Now closing up under brakes are both Harrington and Page. Harrington, of course, the slightly darker green car, the mint green car, which is behind Peacock's red example, is up there in 4th position now. And as for the 3 cars behind, they could get into the mix too. That's going to be Mark Sims in his green Mini. It's then Osborne in the green and purple machine, which is having a look here, and they almost get into each other. They almost touch wheels a little bit, and Osborne goes over the runoff area, but keeps his foot in. Speaking of keeping your foot in, Phil and Brown has done just that, just in his pursuit of Edgecombe. And then nose to tail exiting the right-hander onto the hangar straight once again, so that could be a bit of a change. And Harrington went steaming down the outside into the right-hander at the King and made that move stick. And not only has Howard lost out to now Colin Peacock, but Harrington just demanded that Howard gave him that place. And also going through now, you can see it's Jonathan Page. So Page might end up 4th in his first ever 4th in the Miglia category and 5th overall in his first ever Mini Miglia race. I don't think Howard's going to give this up too easy though. He's going round the outside of 1, 2. maybe Colin Peacock as well. And Peacock's got a problem. Peacock has a problem, and Mark Sims saw that, Damien Harrington saw that very late, and actually, as Peacock dives into the pit lane, that's a real shame. Technical problems for Colin. It caught Damien Harrington completely off guard, and he almost practically went into the pit lane with him. He had to back out of it for a second, at least keep his footing where he could to make the move there. And as a result, he even managed to still get past Jonathan Page. That's relatively impressive for Damien Harrington. I'm quite impressed that we did that. Onto the pit straight they go again. 2.5 minutes left to go in this first race of the weekend for the Dunlop Mini Spares. So Dunlop Mini Challenge, supported by Mini Spares, Miglias and Libras. Still at it here. This is the scrap that's going on for now third position. Page now, look at it's now second in Miglias and third overall between these guys. Third to fifth overall, second to fourth in the class. And it's now Harrington on the back foot, because here comes Howard with the mega toe. And also getting the mega toe back is Jonathan Page on not just one, but two of them. And he gets the side draft from Harrington. The toe in front from Rob Howard looks one way, then the other. Still no avenue through, and I thought for a second that Harrington was going to tag the back of Page's car, but thankfully he was enough of a car length back to not have any effect. Page really wants this. He's a racer, obviously, but he really wants to get through here and try and pick himself in a good position here. It's not going to. That's not going to happen if that happens, because Harrington went Stephen Gack up the inside line, and his tactic getting past Harrod didn't quite work, trying to get back past Page at that point. So Harrington has to sit back, and rightfully so, just sits back and allows Page to continue. He plays the courteous card and decides to come back at him. He's got 1 minute and 12 seconds to go, and in terms of laps left, in terms of timings, this could be the last lap of the race, I think, because the fastest lap times of the race have been 1 minute 17s. There goes Craig Edgecombe. There's Phil Bullen-Brown, though. Far and away out in front in the media class. They're doing well to keep up with Craig Edgecombe. And this will be quite a popular win. In fact, we might actually even get one more time around, because Edgecombe and Bullen-Brown are that far ahead that by the time this battle for third outright across the line, that's when I figured they might be getting to the point where they'd be doing possibly one more beyond the last lap of the race. But I think we'll get one more time around here, which would be a benefit to these three, because you can see that Jonathan Page on the outside, Harrington in the middle, and it's Howard on the inside line. Who's last of the late breakers into Stowe corner? Harrington, he almost shoves Howard out the way. Get out of it, I want my position if you don't mind. Up towards should be the last lap board for Craig Edgecombe, which it is. So he gets one more time around the Silverstone International Circuit, which means it's still on for third place between Howard, Page and Harrington. Let's see what order they come through the final corner and who it's going to be. This sort of slightly lower light is difficult. They've all closed up again now, look, because Osborne's in the mix now too, so is Roberts, and so is Mark Sims, so it's now 6 of them for second place in class now. Headed by Harrington. We've got Page to the outside of Howard. Here comes Alex Osborne to the inside of both of them. Page tries to go for the apex, finds a green and purple mini to his inside line. Roberts in there too as well. Back towards the complex they go. One of the Libra back markers also might be possibly a factor here as Harrington throws the car in. Everyone trying to be third in class behind him. Osborne's gone to third in class now. Howard down to fourth, and Page down to fifth. A big sideways moment for Osborne. Just about catches it, but it's quite easy in front-wheel drive cars. Boot the throttle and the front end comes around eventually. He holds on to it whilst in full attack mode, trying to hold on to that place. As for Craig Edgecombe, no need to attack too hard this time. It's been quite an impressive feat for this Libra driver. You don't normally see, in the nicest possible way, Libra cars towards the front, but Craig Edgecombe has been the exception today. Strong in qualifying, started at the front of the Libra grid, have been practically unchallenged apart from a small little bother for Phil Bullen-Brown in the end. Craig Edgecombe wins outright and in mini Libras in the mini Miglia and Libras race. It's the Miglia's victory for Philip Bullen-Brown. But now let's sort out second and third downwards, because it's going to be, I think Jonathan Page will be on the Miglia podium for the first time in his first ever Miglia race. It's going to be third overall and second in Miglias for Damien Harrington. It is going to be third in Miglias and fourth overall for Jonathan Page in his first Miglia race. The newly provisionally crowned Mini 7 champion having a fantastic debut in the Miglias. It's then Jonathan Page who's fourth, Rob Howard is fifth, Alex Osborne sixth, Lee Roberts seventh, but it's Mark Sims eighth, Ashley Davies from the back of the grid with a 10-second delay up to ninth. What a drive that is for him. That's one of the drives of the weekend so far. And Tony LeMay will come through here on screen in 13th place. He's behind James Colburn, Sean King and Kieran McDonald, who also started at the back of the grid with that delay, along with Ashley Davis, and he comes through to 12th, which is quite impressive. As for the rest of the Libra class cars, it's going to be, I think Evans will come through in second in that category. Yes, it will be. So it will be 474, which is Josh Evans, who comes through in second in Libras. And then third place will go to Richard Colburn, ahead of Gary Warburton. And then in fifth place, it will be the 113 of Philip Harvey, who started at the back of the Libra grid at the beginning of the race. So, a race that was initially characterised by three of the main contenders in the field and three of the fastest guys in the field all getting caught up in an incident up at Stowe Corner in the opening couple of laps. And it really did sort of shake things up a little bit, particularly for Craig Edgecombe, who charged his way through from the front of the Libra category to win, not just in Libras, but outright too. Edgecombe wins the race, Bullen Brown is second and also wins the Libra category, the Miglia category, from Damien Harrington in second place, and an impressive Miglia podium for Jonathan Page and his first run in the Miglias after provisionally sewing up the 7th title. Then it's Rob Howard in 5th, Alex Osborne 6th, Lee Roberts, Mark Sims and Ashley Davis and James Colburn ran out the top 10 for Sean King and Kieran McDonald. Then it's Tony LeMay, Josh Evans, Richard Colburn, James Cuthbertson, who had been incident earlier on, as to Gary Warburton. We had Ben Norfolk, Philip Harvey, Julian Proctor with problems, and Colin Peacock also pulled into the pit lane later in the race with a mechanical issue. We lost Steve Yule and Nick Paddy down at Abbey Corner. Les Stanton also retired a few laps before that. But also, more critically, we lost three of the fastest guys on the grid. We lost Kane Aston, Ben Colburn and Rupert Death after they all tangled early in the race up at Stowe Corner. Hopefully those cars can be sorted out and repaired to get us back underway for race number 2 later on. So, the Miglias will be down in the top end of the pit lane. I'm sure, hopefully, we can get... I don't know how it's... we might have a little bit of time, given that we've got 1 or 2 minis to clear away, so we may well have a chance to have a chat to possibly, well, at least we'll have a chat to our mini Libra and Miglia winners, because they're first and second overall. A handshake between the Craig Edgecombe and Phil Bullen Brown after a great battle back and forth. Wasn't any side-by-side action, but they were at least having a great it was a tension battle between them in terms of Bullen Brown getting quite close and trying to get into the mix. But either way, let's see if we can get a reaction from our top 3 down there overall. Let's have a quick chat with them, as always, from Rob Lewis down in pit lane. He's down there to capture all the action down here at Silverstone.
Absolutely, and a slightly different podium here, as you can see, the winning car being the Mini Libra, who's well ahead of his other competitors in class. The man that won overall and won the Mini Libra class is, of course, Craig Edgecombe. Yes. Craig, this car is absolutely phenomenal, and you were able to get clear of the Miglia straight away.
Pretty good. It's first time out in it in the Libra, so we used it at fastest mini in the world first time, so yeah, pretty happy with the overall result. Yeah, happy. Very good.
Certainly punched above the rest.
Yes, yeah, I was quite impressed with it earlier when we had we set pole for qualifying as well, which led well, 4th overall as well, which we was quite happy with. A few little teething problems, but we got to the bottom of them and proved quite nice overall result, so yeah.
Fantastic. Just for the viewers at home, what's the sort of difference between the Libras and the
this
Miglias?
one is a normal mini engine, still the block, and all, just a cylinder head that's different. It's got a 16 valve CAD cylinder head on the top. That's the all the rest is just still mini, mini gearboxes, all the same. Just the cylinder head's different. It's got obviously throttle bodies at the front, so that's why the bonnet's all cut open.
Fantastic. Well,
lovely.
Congratulations there on the superb results. So that's our Libra winner and our overall winner, Craig Edgecombe. I'm trying to find Phil Bullen Brown. If we could get Phil Bullen Brown over here just to have a chat. He's too busy shaking hands with everyone, but we'll bring him over and get you stood in front of the BRSCC boarding there. You normally need a bit of step. Don't worry about that. Obviously, second place overall, first amongst the Miglias. You must be well chuffed.
Really, really pleased. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try and keep Craig honest, but you know, in a straight line, he's got me. But you know, we wanted to have a bit of a race, and I think we had a couple of laps there where it was close. So yeah, no, it was just a great race. I'm not sure what happened on lap 1 or lap 3 or anything, so you know, I don't really know, but I just wanted to keep my head down and keep pushing, and yeah, I'm chuffed to pieces. Really pleased.
Fantastic, and a good way to pay tribute to Peter.
Absolutely. I mean, he gave me my start in Miggs. I drove his car at Donington. It was a disastrous weekend for him, for me. We unfortunately had a coming together with a car, and that was my start in Miggs. But Peter gave me the start, and he was at heart he was 21 still, because as soon as the competition and the motorsport started, he was 21 again, and he wanted to win. And yeah, so hopefully, yeah, doff for the cap to Peter, and hope he's watching down and smiling.
a fitting tribute. Congratulations there on a superb Miglia win. So that's our second place overall, and our winner in the Miglia's there. So get a big cheer. Now, if we could just get third place overall. Come on, you know the drill. Incidentally, Damien Harrington forgot how to park his Mini as well, because he parked it in the wrong spot. It is behind us, I can confirm.
Most of it's behind you, some of it's still out on the race.
Some of it's still out on the racetrack. Care to elaborate?
Well, I'm not quite sure I lost it, to be honest. There was a bit of contact everywhere. Like on the first lap, it was a complete mess. Somehow I avoided it. I kept going. It was an awesome battle with Jonathan Page and with Howard. Nearly took Peacock out when his engine went. But yeah, it's not my first proper MIG race. I did Brands Hatch, but that was sort of testing the car. So great fun, really enjoyed it.
Plenty of action, thrills and spills. I guess that's mini racing, right?
That is mini racing, yes. I could agree with that, yeah.
Absolutely. Race 2, what's the plan?
More of the same, hopefully. Well, with slightly less contact, that would be nice.